Royals won 5 of 6 on this homestand. Seems like they're riding the ship a little bit. Some awesome pitching on Friday and Saturday against the Houston Astros was the story. We're going to break down those two games and all of it here on One Royal Way. We're back at it here on Kansas City Sports Network. I'm Joel Penfield. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We're live here on a Sunday night. If you're listening to this after the fact, usually Sunday nights, we go live here, break down the weekend series. And if we're able to go live during the week, if it makes sense time-wise, we'll do that as well. So head on over to YouTube for those episodes. And be sure you're subscribed. If you're not, if you're on the audio platforms, make sure you're subscribed. Hit those notification bells so you know when these episodes go up. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday throughout the season. I can't thank everyone enough for their support of this so far this season. It's been awesome. I appreciate all of it. We also appreciate Emprise Bank here, members FDIC, our partners Impossible here at Kansas City Sports Network, and beyond just this show, everything we do here at the network. The Royals, they managed to get a 6-game winning streak throughout this week from Sunday through Saturday. They took 2 of 3 from the Houston Astros. They go 5-1 on the 6-game homestand. Got things back on track a little bit. This was a team that had been reeling, a 2-8 road trip, really had been struggling. The offense was in tatters. Like, it had been really bad during that homestand. They get things going a little bit offensively against Colorado. And to Houston's credit, they pitched really well. Wisniewski, Framber, and then Hunter Brown today all pitched really well, but the Royals were able to get two wins on the other side. The Royals pitching was fantastic on Friday and Saturday. We'll go ahead and hop into those games right now. They get the win on Friday 2-0. The only offense to really speak of was 2 sacrifice flies in the 5th and 6th inning, Kyle Isbell and Hunter Renfroe, and that's all the offense they needed. Bobby goes 3 of 4. He extends his hitting streak, and he did throughout the weekend. It's up to 18 games now, 19 games at this point, which is the longest of his career. And he's swinging a hot stick, and I don't even think he's not even red hot yet, and he's still got this going. So the offense has sorely needed something like that, and he's been able to provide some of that, even if it hasn't. The offense has still had some deficiencies and inconsistencies. The biggest part of the game on Friday was Seth Lugo, who from jump was fantastic. First pitch strike, 75% of hitters he faced. And he gets into the 8th inning, 8 shutout innings, 3 hits, 8 strikeouts, 1 walk, and a called strike whiff percentage of 36%, which is a really solid number for a guy that doesn't get a ton of swing and miss, a guy that generates a lot of early contact, and was super efficient too. Only threw 94 pitches in those innings. It would have been the 4th time through, 5th time through for him going into the 9th. So they let it up, and Lucas Ursig goes, locks down the 9th, and it was no problem. It was a pretty efficient 9th inning for Ursig as well. Been kind of waiting for an outing like this from Lugo. He kind of struggled out the gate, or was just not real efficient early in the year. Now that the season's gotten rolling, his arm's getting loose. He's pitching every 5th day, and we're kind of back in that routine. He's kind of back to the guy that he was last year. The ERA is down to 3.09 on the season after a kind of a spotty outing early in the year. And I thought he pitched well against the Detroit Tigers, but obviously he gets beat on the one bad pitch that he threw to Spencer Torkelson, and that was ultimately the difference. He didn't have that in this particular game, and only 9 swings and misses. So generating a lot of early contact, benefiting from very solid defense, especially in the 8th inning. Leadoff single by Victor Caratini. And at that point, I wondered if he was just going batter to batter, and if they were going to go to Ursig, or if they were going to go to Steven Cruz or something like that. And they let him play through it, and lo and behold, next batter, Cam Smith, he crushed the ball right at Bobby Witt Jr., but Bobby makes a great play. The ball kind of ate him up a little bit, but he gets it to Massey, double play, and ended any sort of threat. And the inning ended pretty quickly after that. But if the offense is going to go through spots like this, and they're going to have these types of struggles and these types of inconsistencies, you're going to need starts like this from time to time. And it was about as masterful as you're going to get. And Lugo's full arsenal on display threw all 9 pitches at least once. Only threw one sweeper, but a lot of fastballs. The slurve. He used the slow curve, which is a variation of his curveball that's about 2 to 3 miles an hour slower than his normal one, down to 70 miles an hour. So just add. He continues to add. He continues to tinker. Going from he was a 5-pitch reliever, so this isn't like he expanded all of this just since becoming a starter. He had a lot of this as a reliever as well, but now it's expanded even more, and it's got to be a nightmare to game plan against. You know he's going to throw a bunch of stuff, but I mean, when you talk about for most starters, like you need 3 pitches, and that's still, you got a 1 in 3 shot of being correct and guessing correctly. You have a 1 in 9, 1 in 10 chance of guessing right. Then you must have a hell of a game plan against the guy. But it makes it so difficult because he's able to mix and match all over the strike zone with all these different pitches and any count. Early count breaking balls, late count sliders. He'll throw you an early count fastball, but usually it's on a corner and he's going to induce some weak contact. So he's able to just keep hitters off balance. And when you don't have upper end velocity, I said that really weird, velocity, to like miss a ton of bats, he's up to 95, but he's mostly sitting 92, 93. He just, it's such a unique path that he has taken to pitching, and it is very much the art and science of pitching that he continues to just show every fifth day. It is still one of the more valuable contracts in all of baseball. I wasn't sure what I was going to see from him coming into the year, just because he set the bar so high last year, finishing second in Cy Young voting, after kind of being an under the radar move, a 3 for $45 million deal. Who knows what you're going to get out of him, but he's probably pretty steady. And he was more than that last year. He was arguably their best pitcher, and Cole Reagan's finished 4th in Cy Young. So obviously he was no slouch either. And he just continues to go out there every fifth day, man the post, and do a job and keep the Royals in the game. And I don't know if he'll be able to replicate what he did last year. That'd be pretty hard to do. But you certainly know when Seth Lugo goes out there to pitch that he's going to get the job done. And he clearly did that against a Houston lineup that, they still have some dudes that can thump in that lineup. Altuve, has done it for such a long time. Despite the slow start to the year, Jordan Alvarez still one of the best left-handed hitters in all of baseball. And that lineup looks very different without Kyle Tucker and Alex Bregman. But Christian Walker, again, despite the slow start, has a track record of being a very, very good hitter. And he had them all off balance most of the night. Hard hit balls, but a lot of right at guys, which goes to game planning as well in the Royals' defense's part. A lot to like from this game. Incredibly impressive from Seth Lugo, and you just hope that he's able to continue to stack these types of outings. And obviously, I'm not expecting him to go 8 shutty, every fifth day, but this is certainly an outing to build on and a confidence builder. And you go right into Saturday, where Michael Wacha just takes the baton and gives you 6 shutout. He's able to get through 6 for the first time this season. He strikes out 6, walks 2. Benefit of some very good defense and some interesting defense late in that one, where Michael Salvi goes to cover a ball, but he's not able to get there. But Michael's right there, and Wacha's still covering. It's a 4-1 put out. He had a weird play with Salvi fielding a ball way deep in the hole that if Michael just fields and it's a 4-3, it's way easier. But Salvi makes the play, Wacha gets over there and gets out of the inning. It is what it is, but they got out of it. And Wacha pitched really well, very effective with his 4-seam and his sinker. Induced a lot of early contact, not a ton of hard contact, got a lot of pop-ups and a lot of weak contact early in that game. Only got threatened a couple times, but was able to keep the hitters off balance all night, and more in line with the guy we saw at the second half of last season after kind of struggling to begin the year. And he said that, as you get further into the year, that you feel more comfortable and you feel more in line with, your stuff and how you're feeling, the velocity's back and more consistent, your pitch counts built up. And that's what we saw from him. And this is, again, another outing to stack. And he pitched well in Detroit. I didn't think it was a great outing, but I thought it was like, okay, he's getting back to what we saw last year, and this was kind of proof of concept with that. And this was, again, it was a 2-0 win. He had a sac fly from Mark Hanna, and part of that in the first. And this was where the Royals forced the issue with the base running. And I know that, some of the base running stuff we can talk about as a detriment or some concern, but in this one, Michael walks. He spit on a bunch of sinkers and changeups from Framber Valdez. He gets the first. Bobby comes up and hits a two-hopper, a hard hit two-hopper through the six hole right by the shortstop, Jeremy Pena. For most guys, a routine single, and this is where they took advantage of Jose Altuve's lack of experience in left field. I'm watching this I was at the game. I was in the press box watching this game, and I noticed right away that Jose Altuve might as well have been playing left field from the damn parking lot. Like, he was about 3 or 4 steps from the warning track. And I understand wanting to keep everything in front of you, but if a ball's hit, it's a routine single. When you're that far away, and especially with Bobby busted out of the box every single time, that's a double. And then you get second and third, nobody out, and Canna comes up, hits a sac fly, you get a run, build some confidence there. Now, I will say after that, Framber really settled down, and he's been one of the best pitchers in baseball for the last half decade or so. So I didn't have super high expectations offensively. I just wanted to see them scratch a couple across, and hopefully Walker's able to match, and he did all night. But getting that one early set the tone a little bit, and they were able to give Walker a lead, and Walker went right back out in the second inning, threw up a 0, and we were off and running. And it felt like they were pretty demoralized after this team. So this is where, and Nate, so for audio listeners, Nate said the base running is a joke. So many times they're taking 90 feet when it's so unnecessary. And I understand that. There are times where they are too aggressive on the base path. It is, I'm trying to think of like an equivalent in another sport, but sometimes but I think just from a baseball perspective, when your offense struggles like the Royals do and have this inconsistency, they have to force the issue somehow. They have to get base runners in scoring position. They have to try and, put pressure on defenses to make a play and try and steal a little bit of momentum. And that's how that happens. But there are times where, yeah, they're a little too aggressive. But I'm willing to I understand why they're trying to do it. It's not like they're just running for the sake of running. They're trying to run to get guys in scoring position because the offense ain't going to do it themselves most of the time. And that's a huge part of this. They don't hit for a ton of power. They don't drive runners in the gap. They're having trouble with runners in scoring position right now. They're getting runners in scoring position for the offense to drive guys in. So I understand the frustration. I do, because they run themselves out of a lot of innings as well. But some of that aggressive base running, also nets you runs, like we saw, like I just talked about with Jonathan India going first to third on that. See, recognizing that Altuve was playing at the warning track, and he gets second and Bobby gets to second. You got second and third, nobody out against one of the best pitchers in baseball. You had a chance to put up a crooked number, but they get one. But they probably don't get one if India just stops a second and they just go station to station. Forcing the issue there got you that run and got you one early and gave Walker some confidence. So I see both sides of it. I do need to hit a break here before we move on. I'll still talk about this game. There's still more to talk about from the Saturday game. I'll do that right after this.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
Success in real estate takes more than vision. It takes the right financial partner. When someone takes something rundown and turns it into something great, that's called a comeback story, like Brain Group. They take distressed properties here in KC, completely rework them, and then turn them into valuable real estate. But that kind of work needs the right bank behind it. Enter Emprise Bank. They're not about cookie-cutter loans. They saw Brain Group's vision, backed them, and now they're making big moves in Kansas City real estate. Talk about your partner in possible. Emprise doesn't do one-size-fits-all financing. They invest in potential and back growth. Visit emprisebank.com/KC to learn more. Emprise Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Are you ready to win some real cash during the basketball playoffs? Well, check out Pick 6 from DraftKings. When it comes to basketball payouts, DraftKings Pick 6 posterizes the competition, and yeah, that includes prize picks. Hit all of your picks and score higher minimum payouts on Pick 6, plus even more cash if you outscore the competition. Pick 6 is available in most states, including Missouri, California, Texas, Georgia, and more. New players get 50 in Pick 6 credits instantly on just a $5 entry. Here's what you gotta do. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN for new customers to play $5, get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offers. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Thank you very much, Tucker, for that glorious commercial. Appreciate everybody hanging out. If you're watching this live or if you're following this after the fact, be sure to hit like and subscribe on all audio and video platforms. We appreciate the support here at KCSN and on this podcast. Moving on, the game on Saturday, as I mentioned, the Royals win 2-0. The other run they got in this game was a home run from Vinny Pasquantino off Framber Valdez. Vinny was the only true lefty in the lineup. Drew Waters is a switch hitter. But obviously, true lefty, it was just Vinny. And he was the DH in this game. Rough first at bat. It was as Vinny has kind of had the propensity to do this year, kind of dove out at a changeup below zone. And it was not a pretty looking at bat. Framber's a tough matchup, lefty. Vinny comes up the next at bat, looked a heck of a lot more comfortable. He fouled a couple off. Looked like he had gotten the timing down. And Framber threw a lefty changeup in kind of toward his back knee, and he dropped the head on it, crushed it, 412 feet, and got the offense going. And Vinny knew it too. Like when Vinny hits a home run, he knows he got it, and got the offense a little bit more. It obviously wasn't a ton, but with the way Waka had been pitching to that point, you felt like they were in a good spot to be able to keep themselves in that game. And Vinny getting that home run, I think, is going to serve as a confidence builder for him. He had been in a pretty decent slump. He was 3 for his last 25. I still kind of am waiting for the breakout to happen for him. Some of the expected numbers aren't necessarily suggesting that. But to me, like the track record of him as a solid big league hitter is too great at this point for him to struggle like he has at this point. So I guess we're still kind of in wait and see mode on whether, where Vinny is going to be at in this lineup and as this team continues. But he got the job done against the tough lefty. He got the job done against the tough lefty and Tarek Skubal the previous Sunday, hitting it near the bottom of the order. So we'll have to see how he continues to improve, and maybe a home run like that serves as a bit of a confidence builder for him, and he's able to get on one of those hot streaks that we've seen him have throughout his career at any point. The thing that I took away the most from this game was 7th inning. So Waka's done after 6. I didn't know who they were going to go to. It was Ursig had already, he had thrown the previous day. Estevez had the night off. He didn't throw on Friday. He threw the previous day in the doubleheader. So I figured maybe he's available, but obviously they're going to let him throw for the 9th. I didn't know if it was going to be John Schreiber. Angel Serpa had gotten warm, and Schreiber had gotten warm the previous inning. So they could have gone in a bunch of different directions. They gave it to Steven Cruz, a guy that they have, that's had some big league time, but it's been in pretty small. It was a pretty small sample in 23, and then a pretty small sample last year. Just I think it was 5 or 6 innings. Just a guy in a pinch if they needed him. In his big league career, he's only thrown 25 innings over 3 seasons at this point. He's already thrown 7 games this year. I've liked what I've seen from him. They obviously have a ton of confidence in him. To give him that spot, to me was very indicative of how they feel about him. A guy that they've slowly developed over the last few seasons. And in that spot, maybe this is an indicator that he's going to get more leverage spots. And now we also need to be fair, like no one else had really earned those spots either, right? They had just called up Jonathan Bolin, but he's kind of in a multi-inning, role to some degree. Angel Serpa certainly has not earned that spot. We know Chris Stratton hasn't. So they're still trying to fill up some of those innings for Hunter Harvey. They don't want to use Ursig yet. If they don't have to, you throw them back-to-back days. And it ended up being Steven Cruz, and I thought he pitched really well. Upper 90s fastball, has some confidence in the strike zone, induced some weak contact, and did a job. I want to see some more strike. The velocity is at a point where I think he should get way more strikeouts than he does. He only has 5 strikeouts in the 5 2/3 in 7 innings this year. And he's walked 3. I think some of those walks happened pretty early. But a clean 7th, and really his first real higher leverage type role for a situation that they've thrown him in against a pretty tough lineup. Now, it was good that it was near, I think it was the bottom of the order that he faced, but who cares? Like 7th inning, 2-run game when you're trying to keep a winning streak going. Steven Cruz went out and did it. And I'll be curious how often they throw him in these roles as we continue to go over the rest of the season. So a name to watch, certainly, as we move forward with the way the bullpen continues to evolve between injury and lack of production from certain guys. Feels like Steven Cruz is going to get a few more chances, and certainly a name to follow here. Moving on to Sunday, and full transparency here, I didn't watch this one live. I had some family stuff that I had to take care of today, so just followed along on my phone, keeping track of the score and things like that. The Royals lose 7-3. Biggest difference in this game was just Yordan Alvarez hit a bomb off Chris Bubich. Bubich pitched fine. He gave up 4 earned, went 5 innings. Not a lot to write home about. Certainly did not follow up his really nice start against Colorado Rockies, but pitching against the Houston Astros and Colorado Rockies are 2 vastly different things. But it was just one of those games where you kind of felt like, all right, when's the luck going to run out a little bit with the way, they had kind of danced through the raindrops to a certain extent offensively against the Astros in the first 2 games. They were very much the beneficiary of 2 fantastic pitching performances between Lugo and Waka. And Hunter Brown has been one of the best pitchers in baseball so far this year. Still ERA below 1.5. Gave up a couple runs today, but the Houston offense did enough to where a couple wasn't going to cut it. The Royals needed more. And this is where this was one of those games where I worry about the Royals' ability to consistently win. And it was nice they won 6 straight. They got them back on track. They're 4.5 back in the division. The Tigers keep winning. But again, you kind of dance through the raindrops for a couple of games in this homestand. Like you got lucky that the Rockies, couldn't get it done in extra innings, but you should have never been in that situation to begin with. And scoring 2 runs, it's not enough most nights. It was 2-0 in that game on Tuesday that Carlos Estevez blew. Scoring 2 runs against the Rockies you shouldn't need that to be okay. We got 2. The pitching's going to handle the rest of it. It's not going to happen over the course of a full season. Now the offense did break out a little bit in the doubleheader, which was nice, but again, it's not always going to be sustainable that way. You're not going to be able to play the Rockies 162 times. Most nights, like if Seth Lugo is going to pitch that way, I'm not going to complain too much about only getting 2. Like 1 was enough with the way Seth Lugo pitched, but you still want to see more. And they got 9 hits in that game, left a lot of meat on the bone, but they still, you scratch a couple across in the game that your starting pitcher gives you enough. Okay. Like I understand it. And I'm not sitting here saying that the Royals need to average 6 runs a game. I'm not saying that, but you can't average 2 to 3 a night and expect to win a whole bunch of games. And to string the win streak that they did, awesome. But it's not going to happen like that over the course of a season. You're going to see a lot of lulls. You're going to see a lot of 2-8 stretches like they did on the homestand or on the road trip, on the 10-game road trip where they averaged less than 3 runs a game. you're not going to win a lot of games playing that way. They have to find offense somewhere. They have to manufacture it a little bit differently. They need Vinny. They desperately need Vinny to get going. I think Salvi is on his way there. 5 doubles. I said 4 during the doubleheader. And then he got another double today, a couple of hits. I think he had a couple of hits on Friday, if I'm remembering that game correctly. So he's getting rolling. But this offense is very, very different with when those 2 guys are going, because Bobby is on his, he's playing at a super high level. Indy is continuing to put together some solid at bats, and the results just have not been there, but continues to table set at the top of the lineup. They need a little bit of production from the bottom of the order. Just one guy a night can one guy be a difference, and that's about it. Reed, when is there a conversation about Zumwalt? See, I think it's a tricky spot because I'm not going to sit here and call for people's jobs. Clearly, there's some disconnect right now, but like there's also an element of Zumwalt can't have the at bat for him. Some of these guys are either being too selective or too aggressive. Like there's some disconnect right now, but I don't know if it's a him thing or the way the line. And some of it is just a roster construction thing as well. Like I do think that does factor into this. Like Vinny's got to be better, Salvi's got to be better, but there's also 5 out of 9 guys in this lineup that have been not very good for most of the season, right? And I don't know how much of that is on him versus the results versus the process. I don't. It's not something that I had been privy to. Hasn't been talked about a ton. When I go to games, it hasn't been something that's gotten brought up a lot. I'll continue to dig as the sample grows. It's also April 27th, so if we're still seeing these same issues in mid-May into June, then I think a greater conversation needs to be had. But it's still early enough that I'm not gonna do that. I'm not going to call for someone's job. I'm not going to say they need to be fired. I'm not going to say they need to make changes. Most of the time, the organizations that make knee-jerk fire from the hip, pun intended, types of decisions with coaching staffs are usually not good ones. Like the Rockies fired their hitting coach in like the second week of April. Like good organizations don't do that. I don't know. I guess we'll see. A couple notes before we get out of here one more thing I did want to mention before we move out of here, and on a little bit of minor league stuff. Drew Waters had a solid game. He had a couple of doubles on Friday. He had a triple today. I do want to caution people just a little bit on Drew Waters. He's right now he's slashing 280, 321, 480. Now, so we got those surface numbers, right? The expected numbers are not as kind. The expected batting average is 238. The expected slugging is 346. The average exit velocity is 86 miles an hour. That's not very good. The hard hit percentage is really low. The chase is 33%. He's striking out still 31%, not really walking, and he's swinging and missing 35%. So this is where I've talked about I don't need a guy to be awesome for 3 months if they're just filling in from AAA. Can he be awesome for 2 weeks and help kind of move things along, be a spark? He's kind of done that. I just want to know, like, I don't know when Cinderella's carriage is going to turn into a pumpkin, but if those expected numbers are any indication, it's probably going to happen sooner rather than later. So just something to watch. I know that, and it has been a good story. It has been super helpful that Drew Waters has done this for the Royals. But what I'm saying is I caution people on thinking this is who he is now. That's why we have some of these these underlying metrics to look at to show, who a guy could be moving forward. Just something to watch as he continues to play, because MJ's not coming for his job right now. I don't know if anybody's seen it. I went and looked today. I hadn't really seen or paid attention to how he was doing in AAA, MJ Melendez, because I wanted to give it a little bit of time and not knee-jerk. But after today, and MJ Melendez is hitting 083 with a 279 OPS, and it's a negative 31 weighted runs created plus and a 41% strikeout rate coming into today. And he also Didn't get a hit today, and he struck out another time today. So it is 6 games, but certainly not the AAA stint that I thought we were going to see. I was hoping, my hope was he's going to go to AAA, get some confidence back, mash a little bit, and then in a few weeks, then, maybe we see him back after just a little bit of a reset. I think it's going to be a little bit longer than that. Unless he goes and he may go on a 13 for 27 this week with 4 homers, and maybe we're having a different conversation. But first week back in AAA, not very kind. So I guess it's something we'll continue to monitor. I'll update, over the next few weeks and see how he's doing and where he's at. It may not matter. Maybe Drew Waters just plays over the expected numbers and stays hot and stays in the lineup and gives himself a chance. But I guess we'll see. We'll continue to watch. The other big thing that came out of AAA, or not AAA, the minor leagues this week, Jack Caglione started playing right field. The Royals made it clear that they're going to play him at first, get him comfortable. Pardon me 1 second. I thought I muted it. I did not. I'm sorry, guys. But Jack Caglione started playing right field for Northwest Arkansas. That signals to me countdown's on a little bit. I'm not saying it's going to be 2 weeks from now, but moving him out to right field to me means that those opportunities are presenting themselves, and he is still playing really well. The strikeout rate is a little bit up, but not to a concerning level. He's still taking walks. He's showing more patience. He's hammering mistakes. He hit a ball off the wall on the fly. Sound off the bat was absurd. And he looked fine in right field, like passable. His first couple opportunities, he caught a ball directly over his head. He made a solid throw to the cutoff. As long as he can just be passable, the bar is really low for what the Royals need from him. And really the Royals just need him to be a body. And if he's able to come up and be a spark and play right field and DH, play first base, move around a little bit for this team, and we'll see. But he's got to get AAA first. But to me, I didn't expect him to start playing the outfield until he got to Omaha. The fact that he's doing it now tells me that he might be closer to Omaha than we think. Something to watch, certainly. Because some of the numbers, and I was not given the numbers, but I was told by a good friend that works in Major League Baseball that some of the expected stuff, as I tweeted it out the other day, is absurd. The quality of contact, some of those underlying numbers are even better than what he's doing right now, which is obviously pretty high level. The bat speed numbers are bonkers. Like he should be in AAA soon. Now, when soon is, I'm not sure. But I think it's coming sooner rather than later, given the position change. So I guess we'll see. That's going to do it tonight, I think. I appreciate everybody hanging out. Now we will go to our toast game brought to you by Holiday Distillery. I got some soft red wheat here, as I always do. Keep it by my desk for this occasion. Make sure you're liking and subscribing and supporting, continuing to support the channel. I really appreciate everybody. Toast game has to go to Seth Lugo, you guys. A masterful performance on Friday. Doing everything this team has asked of him, and he continues to impress and continues to boggle the mind with the shift from reliever to starter, and then being not only just a good starter, but a high-level one for this team. Continues to go out there every fifth day and do a job, and, deserves a lot of credit for the win on Friday. So to Seth Lugo. That's going to do it for One Royal Way tonight. I'll be back on look on the lookout for a show on Wednesday morning. I'm going to record after the game on Tuesday night in Tampa Bay. That one's going to be Michael Lorenzen versus Taj Bradley. And they're going to be playing at Steinbrenner Field in a minor league ballpark. The ball's flown a little bit there. Maybe this is the slump buster the offense needs, playing in a pretty hitter-friendly park. So one to watch. And then let me check the schedule before we get out of here as to what Thursday might look like, because I cannot for the life of me remember if they are playing a day game on the 1st. They are. That's going to be a 12:10 first pitch on Thursday. So be on the lookout for a live show at 8:30 Central on Thursday to recap that series in Tampa. So we will talk then, and I will talk to y'all later this week. Have a great one, everybody. Cheers.